Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Berkeley County Board of Education meeting this Tuesday, June the 27th? Third. My mind goes blank. I call this meeting to order. I declare the quorum is present and the media has been notified. Going to agenda item number 2, the approval of the agenda. Do we have a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion to approve the agenda. It has been seconded. All those in favor, please respond by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, the same sign. At this time, for our opening prayer, I'm going to ask Mr. Willis Sanders to please come to the podium. He is a former superintendent of Berkeley County Schools here.
Good evening.
Let's please stand.
Let us stand, join hands, bow our heads, and open our hearts. It is said in the Word, in all things we ought to give thanks. Therefore, most gracious Heavenly Father, we come this evening to give you 9 thank yous. We thank you for this day and for all those in attendance at this board meeting. We thank you for the many contributions of the Emmanuel 9 to the community, state, nation, and world as they thought it not robbery to share their love, their talents, and their services. We thank you for one of our own, Ms. Sharonda C. Singleton, one of the Emmanuel 9, who served as a speech language pathologist at Goose Creek High School and Stratford High, and also served as a head girls track coach at Goose Creek High School. We thank you for sharing her with us for the time you did and for allowing her to touch the lives of students and colleagues across Berkeley County School District. We know that you know that the void has not been created by her absence, and we ask that you give us the strength we need to support each other as we continue on the path of service, dedication, compassion, and love that Ms. Singleton leaves as a legacy to all of us. We also ask for a special blessing on Ms. Singleton's children who have been and still are part of the Berkeley County School District family. We ask that you touch their hearts and help them to know that you will wipe away tears from their eyes and that you will have healing hands, that even at this time such as this, earth has no sorrow that heaven cannot heal. We thank you for the strength and courage you will continue to give Ms. Singleton's family and her school families at Goose Creek High School and Stratford High School. We thank you and know that you will give the strength and courage to all of the Emmanuel 9 families, friends, colleagues, communities to endure these winds of sorrow and grief. We thank you for the many prayers and sincere acts of support and assistance from around the world for the Emmanuel 9, the Charleston community, and other communities have been greatly impacted. We thank you for the realization of the word that all things work together for good for those who love the Lord and are called according to his purpose. We thank you for the inspiration to face each day with hope, love, and joy, and to share our time, talents, and treasures from the heart, just as Ms. Singleton did, and all the other members of the Emmanuel 9. We thank you for the words of the late Dr. Martin Luther King, only love can conquer hate, and for helping us to understand the truth in those words. Finally, again, we thank you for your love and all blessings in your name. Amen.
Amen. Please remain standing for our Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Be seated. Going on to agenda item number 4, approval of the minutes of our regular meeting of June the 9th, 2015. Do I have a motion?
Mr. Chair, I move that we approve the minutes of the last regular meeting on June 9th.
Second.
We have a motion to approve the minutes of June the 9th, and we have a second. All of those in favor of this motion, please respond by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Going on to item number 5, the approval of the May 2015 Head Start Budget Expenditure Report, May 2015 Head Start Credit Card Report, revised training and technical assistance, the TTA plan, and the prospective new hires. Do I have a motion? That I move that we approve the May 2015 Head Start Budget Expenditure Report, the May 2015 Head Start Credit Card Report, the revised training and technical assistance TTA plan, and the prospective new hires. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All of those in favor of approving this motion, please respond by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, same sign. And the motion carries. At this time, Miss Amy Murray for our Legacy Builders Special Recognition.
Good evening, Mr. Chair, Dr. Turner, ladies and gentlemen of the board, and all of you who have joined us tonight. We have 2 special recognitions tonight, and the first is Miss Mackenzie Cruz. Miss Cruz is Berkeley County School District's 2015 Rookie Teacher of the Year. Ms. Cruz teaches children's literature and creative writing at Goose Creek High School. Reflecting on her first year of teaching, Ms. Cruz said, "Sifting through all of the challenges and the breakthrough moments, my thoughts keep returning to one thing: relationships. I was determined to know my students this year, their hopes, their goals, their likes, dislikes, their emotional needs. I will never stop investing my time in trying to know my students because I believe that that is how I will help them grow." Mr. Husky, Ms. Cruz's principal, said, "Ms. Cruz has a wonderful way of getting every student involved in rigorous and challenging lessons. She is innovative and dynamic with the student body. She infuses students with motivation and instills in them an appetite for the joys of serving our great country and the local community. She aids without reprimand, corrects without disparagement, and teaches by example." When interviewed by the District Rookie Teacher of the Year team, Ms. Cruz said that hearing her dad speak of the difference, the kindness and care teachers showed and gave to him when he was young influenced her to become a teacher. After she finished her field hours, she had a sense of peace and knew that teaching was the path for her. At this time, I'd like to invite Ms. Cruz to the front to say a few words and receive this pin. And I'd also like to invite Ms. Cynthia McBride, one of the assistant principals at Goose Creek High School, up as well for photos.
I didn't know I had to talk. But I'm just very grateful to be a part of this school district, and I just love what I do and just feel very honored to be up here, and wish I had prepared something, but thank you all.
I'd now like to invite Mr. Charlie Davis to recognize our next group of students.
My congratulations personally also, Mackenzie. I've known Mackenzie since she was about this tall. It's my pleasure once again tonight to present to you another state championship group, this time from Cross High School. Young ladies, if y'all would come up along, or excuse me, I'm sorry. We did cross last week. Timberland High School. I apologize. I'll never live that down. Mr. Daugherty, the principal of Timberland High School. Coach Elizondo, please come up with your state championship girls. I'd like to, I asked Coach Elizondo to send me some information about each one of these young ladies. And I didn't want to change any wording that she sent to me. So I'm going to read to you what she sent about these girls because I think it's a great story. After falling short last year in the state championship at Spring Valley for the first place spot in the 4x100 meter relay, these 4 girls decided early on that they would be back the following year to compete for this year's state title. I knew, this is Coach Elizondo, I knew we had something special going when they were able to claim the top spot in the Berkeley County Championship. The following weeks, they took first place in the 7AA region meet and moved on to the lower state, finishing 3rd in that state meet. Now this is what is special because finishing 3rd in the state meet, in the lower state meet, means 2 other teams beat you. And it's rare that a 3rd place team in the lower state does what they did. On the drive up to Columbia, I could see the hunger and the nerves building in the girls. They wanted it and knew how tough it would be to claim it. They had been there before and failed. Senior Tamara Robinson, who has been running track for Timberland since she was 12 years old and competed at every state meet every year, could see her track days with her teammates coming to a close. I listened to them talk about this race for 2 hours. They decided to forget about titles and rings, but instead run for each other one last time. They proceeded to run the best race of their careers together, posting their best time. These girls, Tamara Robinson, let me back up to their names. Destiny Croker, would y'all, each one as I call your name, please step forward. Tamara? Tamara. Okay. Destiny. And Anastasia. And also Dejane. These ladies are the state champion 4x100 relay champs from Timberland High School. We're proud of them. Do we have any other family members that are here tonight of these ladies? Please stand. Y'all stand with me.
And to the family, I saw you taking pictures on your phones. You don't have to come up here, you can get a better angle. If not, I need it.
And that concludes our special recognitions for tonight, but please do take a moment to read Legacy Builders, like I always say. It's packed with information about all of the achievements of Berkeley County School District students and educators. So when you get a chance, they're right over there. Please take a look at it.
At this time, anyone who is here for special recognitions that would like to leave may do so before we get into the rest of the meeting. Before we move on to the next agenda item, which is the citizens' comments, I do have a comment that I want to make that I received some information about. And there seems to be some misinformation circulating around the annual evaluation that we performed here last meeting on the 9th on Dr. Thompson. Discussions about the evaluation actually began back in April, that we needed to do this evaluation. At the May 12th board meeting, it was stated in our meeting that we would do this evaluation on June the 9th. This time schedule allowed the district personnel time to post information pertaining to the evaluation for the board members to review. When questions arose concerning the evaluation of the district, the legal counsel was contacted. The advice of the district attorneys was that we as a board had a contractual obligation to perform an annual evaluation of the superintendent. These evaluations have traditionally been performed in May, toward the end of each school year. The attorneys also stated that to not perform the evaluation could lead to a breach of contract. Some of the board members felt that additional legal problems was not worth the chance, and it was best to go ahead with the scheduled evaluation. We evaluated Dr. Thompson on his leadership over the 2014-2015 school year, and whether under his leadership, the district satisfactorily or unsatisfactorily accomplished the goals that were set forth by Dr. Thompson, the cabinet, and the district or the board. It was unanimous by the voting members that the district satisfactorily accomplish those goals. Dr. Thompson is on a leave of absence, but he is still employed by the district until the completion of his contract on July the 31st. The annuity has been a part of his contract from the beginning of his employment as a superintendent and is based on that annual evaluation. The annuity is the same as any bonus that is paid to a CEO who receives when the company or the district achieves the annual goals set forth by the company. I hope that this clears up any questions as to why this board went ahead and performed this evaluation at our last meeting. At this time, we will have citizens' comments. And again, before we start those, I'll read the citizen comment procedures. In order to conduct the meeting in an orderly and efficient manner, we ask that you honor the following guidelines. Stakeholder comments are welcomed and encouraged. However, the board will not take any immediate action on public comments at this meeting. Any person wishing to address the board must register prior to the meeting, and comments must be regarding programs, policies, or procedures. Comments regarding complaints against employees other than district level executives or references to students other than the child of the speaker will not be heard in public session. Groups addressing the same topic should select one speaker. Comments will be limited to 3 minutes per speaker. The board chair does reserve the right to allot additional time or to halt public comments that do not adhere to these guidelines. At this time, we have Ms. Angela Simmons, who wants to talk about the budget.
Good evening.
Good evening.
To the members of the board, Chairman Mr. Haynes, Interim Superintendent Mr. Turner, Dr. Turner, I'm sorry, and cabinet members. I have stood before you before as a parent and a teacher. Tonight I am standing before you as both, but also as president of the Berkeley County Progressive League. Our organization's mission is to help in any way we can better the lives of the residents of Berkeley County. The Berkeley County School Board has always worked to do what is in the best interest of all of the students of Berkeley County. Recently, I have heard rhetoric that you as a board do not listen to citizens. Well, you've always listened to me. You've not always agreed with me, but I can never say that you have not listened. There are budget decisions that must be made that will impact every citizen of this county. For the past 3 years, you have worked conservatively to not use the total tax millage allowed. I applaud you for that. But there comes a time when hard choices must be made. Choices that may not be popular, but choices nonetheless that must be made. Our students are our greatest assets. The education of our students must be our top priority. In order for our students to receive the best education, we must have quality teachers in the classroom. We cannot achieve this goal if we have the lowest pay scale in the area. We will not be able to hire qualified candidates, and we will be unable to retain quality personnel that we have now. So the choice, the 17 mills that are on the table, you must make the hard, unpopular decision to use them because this is the last chance we will have to do so. Now, much has been said about the effect of the millage increase. However, much of the rhetoric has been inflammatory and have used scare tactics. Yes, approximately $102 per year more on a non-owner occupied dwelling. To me, that's business or rental property. The target of this scare tactic has been the elderly on fixed income. My mother, who is 95 years old. Well, most of them, including my mother, do not own rental property. So she will not be, nor will they be affected at all. My car will be taxed a little more, but I can pay that by missing 2 days with Ryan at Burger King or 2 days at Gilligan's after dinner on Sunday. Yes, you are to be good stewards of our money, but your ultimate job as members of this nonpartisan board is not appeasement. You are not here to be popular. You are elected to do what is right and necessary for the students, and I emphasize the students of Berkeley County. What is right is to provide them with the best possible education, which requires the best possible teachers. The Berkeley County Progressive League supports the usage of the 17 mills to fund our children's education. Thank you.
Thank you. Moving on to agenda item number 8. Ms. Levine, Dr. Levine.
Good evening, Board Chair Hayes, Interim Superintendent Turner, and other members of the board. Policy IHAA, Final Examinations, and Administrative Rule JCDA, Student Behavior Code, received approval during the June 9, 2015 school board meeting for first reading. At this time, it is the recommendation of the administration to approve the second and final reading for policies as listed under item 8 of the June 23, 2015 board agenda.
Do I have a motion?
You do, Mr. Chair. I move that we accept the recommendation of the administration to approve the second and final reading for policies as listed under item 8 of the June 23rd board agenda.
Second.
All right, the motion has been made to accept the recommendation of the administration to approve the second and final reading of the policies listed under the agenda item number 8 of the June 23rd, 2015 board agenda. It has been seconded. All of those, at this time, any discussion on these? Then all of those in favor of this motion, please respond by saying aye. Aye. All of those opposed, same sign. Ms. Levine, you have your motion.
Thank you.
And Dr. O'Gorman now is going to talk to us about the SAIL program.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, Dr. Turner, members of the board, ladies and gentlemen. The past couple of weeks, folks have been asking me how I'm enjoying my summer, and I'm thinking, what are you talking about? Actually, the first 2 weeks of June, there was a lot of activity going on, training for teachers, administrators, other kinds of personnel in the district. I'm going to ask Ms. Schneider to work her way up to the podium. She's actually going to run over this presentation with you. She's going to talk in detail about how we choose sessions, how we organize sessions, who's involved, how long it lasts, things of that nature. Sharon is our Director of Professional Development and Virtual Learning. She is a workhorse, and it's amazing to see everything that she does in this 2-week period. So, Ms. Schneider, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you, Dr. O'Gorman. Good evening, Interim Superintendent Dr. Turner, Board Chair Hayes, and members of the board. Like Dr. O'Gorman mentioned, I'd like to share an overview of our SAIL program that we actually offer every year annually. And it's a abbreviation for our Summer Academy for Instruction and Learning. Mr. Francini, in March of 2009, came back from a visit in a district in the upstate and challenged us to add and to look at different opportunities that we would like to offer our teachers. At that time, we were offering a lot of recertification courses and graduate level courses. So we took on the challenge, and we're excited to say that this is our 7th Summer Academy for Learning for our teachers. In the past, we began using and offering sessions for certified teachers. Now, over the past several years, we've added administrator sessions as well to our program. Typically, SAIL, like Dr. O'Gorman mentioned, lasts 2 to 3 weeks. There were a few summers where we offered 3 weeks of SAIL sessions as well. But again, we look at our needs and we base it on what our teachers are asking for, and that's how we plan our summer. Teachers can gain recertification points and graduate level credit, and we're so excited that a lot of our sessions are facilitated by Berkeley County School District teachers and administrators and other outside presenters from different districts. Again, the purpose of our SAIL program is to really emphasize professional development for our educators, bring our staff together so we can collaborate, and find lots of opportunities for them to earn their certificate renewal points. Every 5 years, our teachers have to earn credentials, their credential, and they have to total 120 points. So this is a great opportunity so that we can assist those teachers in achieving that goal. The SAIL sessions that we offered this summer, a lot of our sessions were at Cane Bay High School, but we also offered sessions at Menriv, College Park Middle, Westview Middle, and Stratford High School. The principals are awesome, their staff, their custodians, they reach out and they welcome us with the sessions because, again, their teachers are gone and they're trying to get their buildings ready for the upcoming school year. Like Dr. O'Gorman mentioned, we just don't throw sessions together. We take the time to really see what we need in Berkeley County. We were so excited. We put a survey out, a teacher inventory for our teachers in April. We left that survey open for a week, and we had over 800 responses back from teachers. There were actually more than 800 responses because some of the teachers came together in their PLCs to really look and see what the needs of Berkeley County are. And they answered some of our questions, and they also came up with 7 pages of great suggestions. So that was one piece that we looked at as we put our sessions together. We also looked at our needs assessment, our teacher forum, which we worked very closely with. We looked to see what are some sessions and what information that they share and what their needs are. We look and see what sessions we need to make sure that we are in compliance and we have sessions that we know that we have to have for regulations. And of course, our administrators always share lots of great feedback for us. During SAIL, we offered 169 sessions. We had over 2,300 seats that were taken by teachers. Some of the teachers were teachers that took several sessions, and then some took a few. So there was a nice variety of folks that actually participated. Again, we awarded certificate renewal points for them, and our presenters included instructional coaches, teachers, district staff, university professors, and also we had a group from the Governor's School of Science and Math come and participate in our third year with their PACE program. I'd like to highlight some elementary sessions and then some secondary sessions and other sessions as I move forward. I have to apologize to my colleagues because there's no way that I could put all the great opportunities that we offered during that time, so I tried to keep it condensed. Reflex Math is a resource that helps students develop fluency with their basic math skills and facts with addition, subtraction, and multiplication. That's something that we know that our teachers and our administrators have utilized this year, so we extended that training to administrators as well. About 8 years ago, we did 6+1 writing traits across the district, and for all ELA teachers in elementary, middle, and high school. So this summer, we revisited the 6+1 writing traits with the teachers in K through 5. And something that we worked on heavily, or we made a lot of revisions and changes to a lot of our units as we move through the summer. For our secondary highlights, again, we worked on our writing, revisions, creating assessments for our ELA, math, science, and social studies, our core content areas. We also were in our year 3 of our rollout for our PACE opportunity that, again, like I mentioned, the science and maths Governor's School provided. Just to kind of revisit what PACE is, PACE stands for the Portable Advanced Science Exploration through Technology Integration. Scientific equipment is placed in the hands of the teachers and the students to enhance the instruction inside the classroom. Other suggested requests that we received from the teachers from the inventory were sessions that support English language learners, lots of technology integration and blended learning. We offered safety net for the teacher. We started by offering initial mentor training, then we had to open up another one, and because of the need, we opened up a third one, and it's going on right now this week. Also, Diane Driggers, Jason Frazier, and other members of technology, and our own Bobby Bowes, introduced the BRAIN in Berkeley County. BRAIN is Berkeley County's Records and Information Network platform, which is our new data warehouse. The folks that went to that session thought it was awesome and incredible, and they want more information about it. So yay to technology and Bobby. Special services offered 36 sessions during sale. Again, I can't go into detail on all the great opportunities and the expertise that the teachers came out from those sessions, but co-teaching sessions were offered to support the implementation of the co-teaching model in an inclusion setting. Other sessions included initial and refresher CPI courses, lots of sessions on classroom management and monitoring, and other opportunities for all different types of teachers and general ed education teachers. Cdep Sessions were also offered, and that's our child development education program. Several sessions were offered to support our Cdep folks and the administrators because they have to earn so many points per year. And we also, in addition to the sessions up there, we offered sessions on sensory play, work sampling, and social play. As you know, that our district priority are PLCs, and AAIS they've worked in the past with our elementary, middle, and high school teachers. We extended some more training this summer, and Robin and David, and they brought other folks on to share in the training. During week 1 of SAIL, we worked with 8 elementary schools and 1 middle school, and then during week 2, we worked with Stratford High School, Cross High School, and Hannon High School on PLC development. And then on Friday, which is a day that no one worked, these folks came back out and we did facilitative leadership training with that group. Here are some pictures. We got a picture of Marty and others from technology. They're leading cloud computing during our summer sale. We had some exciting training from Nick LaFave. He came to our district staff development day in February, and the staff members couldn't get enough of him, so we invited him back. He did 5 sessions during SAIL, and he looked at sessions that help teachers create lessons to help flip the classroom and blend learning and use technology within their classroom. And the last session that he had worked with us on was with the teachers that will be going to Nexton Elementary School next year. Here are some Cdep sessions, some pictures. We have our own Ruth Bucka, who is one of our Teachers of the Year, sharing a Cdep session with teachers. Other highlights that we have Jennifer Thorsten, our math coordinator for secondary, and Laura Gardner, working with teachers on revising the curriculum, and we had lots of folks come out to assist with that process. Again, here are some other sessions. On the right, we have Jason and Lasagna from Technology preparing for one of their sessions. Here's Charla, one of our instructional technologists. She stayed after one of her app smashing sessions and worked with the teacher for one-on-one tutoring. On the left, we had that class that Kim Terry provided for instructional technology. It was a new class that we offered, integrating technology in the 21st century classroom. That was worth 60 recertification points. When we opened that session, we had to literally, it closed within 4 minutes. There was such a need for that. So we are going to offer another session during the month of July. And there's a presenter on the right from SMART. Diane Driggers had them come in, and they shared information about the new SMART version 15 that will be the software that we use with all of our SMART boards beginning in the fall. Here are some pictures. Here's pictures of Stratford, of their PLC training. It was awesome because almost 100% of their staff participated in a 2-day training. Here's a quick picture of the elementary and middle schools coming together at Westview Middle School to work with AIS as well to support and strengthen PLCs. One thing that we did extend, we added an extra day for 3 of our schools, St. Stephen Elementary, Cross Elementary, and J.K. Gordine. They will be piloting virtual PLCs in the fall. So David and another colleague worked with them to strengthen that and show them what that would look like as they move through the school year next year. Are there any questions regarding our great program of SAIL?
I would just like for you to tell everyone what PLC is.
Oh, Professional Learning Communities.
Okay, there's some folks maybe in the audience who haven't seen that acronym before, so tell them what a professional learning community is about.
A professional learning community is where teachers and others come together to collaborate, and they look at student learning, instruction, data, and they look at all the strategies they can put together because their sole purpose is to make sure our students learn and that they provide opportunities and strategies to ensure that learning takes place.
Thank you. Great answer.
Mr. Chair, may I comment?
Sure.
I want to thank Dr. O'Gorman and Mrs. Snyder and all of the staff. This is the brand of professional development that I took for granted as a classroom teacher in Berkeley County. But I now realize how absolutely critical it is. And you have all done a really nice job pulling this together. And it's so wonderful to see these educators who have every reason to get a little bit of rest before they dive in. But thank you for including all those photos because they don't look too rough. They're in there learning, and that's what we hope all of our teachers continue to do. So thank you for all of your work with that.
And compared to May, they actually look quite relaxed when they come back.
Yeah, I think so.
I just want to reiterate a thank you to a lot of different departments get involved in this, especially technology helping us out. Brain, Berkeley Records and Information Network, right? Dr. Turner's eyes after he saw that were like this big. I think a fundraiser, we could charge him a nickel every time he wants to use it.
I actually have told them I'm going to give it 5 minutes of my time when I meet with all of the administrators later on. So
Nice.
we're going to highlight Brain. Brain is a dashboard. All your data is right there, and it could be not only principals but also teachers, and you can really do a lot with. I always have believed in results-driven improvements.
Yeah. Yeah. Just thanks again to technology for setting that up for us. Thank you all very much.
Okay, then moving on to agenda item number 9, financial services. Mr. Thomas?
Back up, Mr. Chair, members of the board, and Dr. Turner. The first item is the invitation for bid for the HVA screening project at Howe Hall in College Park Middle. This was a rebid. Actually, by rebidding it, we actually saved about $134,000. These are, again, at Howe Hall and College Park Middle. If you've been by those schools, you know the HVAC is on the roof. You can see it from the road. A lot of structural projects went into it to kind of seal the screens. I also think it will help in maintenance of the screens. It'll keep weather hopefully away from it. So we ask for your approval to award IFB 415 to Enfinger Construction Company at an estimated cost of $472,000. To remind you, this is one of the minor renovations in the referendum, so that's where the funds will come from.
Do I have a motion?
Mr. Chair, I make a motion to approve IFB 451-1415 HVAC screening project at Howe Hall Ames and College Park Middle for an estimated cost of $472,000 to Enfinger Construction Group, LLC, as presented by Mr. Thomas in Finance Agenda Item 9A.
Second.
All right, we have a motion to approve the IFB 451, the HVAC screening project at Howe Hall Ames and College Park Middle for an estimated cost of $472,000 to Enfinger Construction Group, LLC, as presented by Mr. Thomas in Finance Agenda Item 9A. And that motion has been seconded. All of those, any further discussion?
I do have a question. I remember us talking about that some time ago. Why did we have to rebid it?
Connie, was it because of lack of interest or cost?
We didn't have too many bidders,
Yeah.
and the price was really high. We didn't think it was fair. We also had a specification where the contractor had to do the structure design. Maybe she volunteered to go ahead and do the structure design, and put it in the documents, and hopefully bring the cost down.
So did Enfinger bid on it the first time or not?
No.
No. Okay.
Any other discussion? All right, then we'll call the question. All of those in favor of this motion, please respond by saying aye. Aye. All of those opposed, same sign. Then the motion carries. Mr. Thomas?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Next item on the agenda is the FY 15-16 general fund budget. And during the public hearing, I was talking to Dr. Kelly Wolf about the teacher salary schedule, and she came up to remind me that the bachelor's in zero teacher would be eligible for Medicaid services. I wanted to share that piece of information with you. I'm not going to go through the whole presentation. I'm going to go actually to the recommendation at the end. And the administration recommends second and final reading of the 15-16 budget as presented previously. Mr. Chair.
All right, do I have a motion?
Mr. Chair, I have a motion regarding budget agenda item 9B. I make a motion to accept the fiscal year 2015-2016 general fund budget as second and final reading in the amount of $238,224,042 as presented by Mr. Thomas in budget public hearing under finance agenda item 9B.
I second.
Do we have any discussion?
Mr. Chair. My mom was a teacher. I understand the hours that teachers put into it. I know it's a lot more than just classroom time. I can remember my mom working late when I was doing my homework or getting in with friends, working on her lessons. And so as her son, I believe that teachers do contribute
more to the future of our society than any other single profession. I truly appreciate what the teachers do for our children. I also agree with my colleagues and some of the speakers tonight that Berkeley County teachers need to be paid more. It becomes harder to attract and retain great teachers when we are below neighboring districts, and that is a problem. However, I do not believe the solution to this problem is to increase taxes. And voting on this is not something that I take lightly. I think you can ask Brantley. For the past couple weeks, I've been asking him all sorts of questions about the budget. Isn't that right, Brantley?
Correct. Almost had to come up here Sunday on Father's Day.
And I do appreciate your help.
Just kidding.
I do appreciate your help and hard work in explaining things to me. And so what's the solution in my mind? I think number one is we need a teacher-centric budget. Just because you call it teacher-centric doesn't mean it is. According to our CFO, this year's budget is not any different than last year's budget when you look at the percentage of the overall budget that goes to teacher salaries. It's more the same. When you look at other districts in South Carolina and throughout the country, they have a higher percentage of their overall budget going to teacher salaries. I hope that everyone realizes that as a board we were given 3 options by our CFO to increase teacher salaries. And the budget before us tonight goes with the lowest salary increase, the least teacher-centric option. So how do we get to a budget that's not teacher-centric in name only? I think we need permanent leadership for this district. I'm hopeful that we will find a superintendent that will start on the ground floor of this budget and work his way up, making sure that every expenditure is in line with our strategic plan so that we can find areas of waste and use the money to pay teachers. This past year we spent approximately $650,000 on criminal legal fees associated with investigations. That's the equivalent of $1.5 million. That number is going up as we recently received a request from Rodney Thompson to pay $127,300 for his criminal legal fees. If we care about teachers, we will stop spending money on things like criminal legal fees, $17,000 in annuities, and paid administrative leave for indicted employees. I am not anti-teacher. I think our teachers deserve more. I am, however, anti-waste and making the public front the bill for it.
Any other comments? Yeah.
Mr. Thomas, can you pull up that, the presentation that you had? I want to go back to where it talks about our millage. And this is something that I was talking to Councilman Newell about in between meetings. And I think that I would like to highlight right there. That's the one. And I know that you did mention this, but just for everybody's benefit that may not have been able to make it for the 5:30 budget presentation, the 1213, that 8.1 millage, that if we don't take that now, we'll never get that. If we don't increase our millage and use our we're calling it catch-up, the look back, we're never going to get this again. We're never going to have this opportunity. And I think that, I mean, I'm in the same place I was 2 weeks ago when we did first reading. I think everybody knows that. This will help us increase our teacher pay. And that was shocking information for me to know that our first-year teachers qualify for Medicaid because we're not paying them enough. They have gone and gotten a bachelor's degree to be a professional, and they can't. I mean, they're below the poverty line. Would that be accurate to say?
I would think so, Dr. Wolfright.
That's shameful, and our teachers deserve better than that. And I will be voting in favor of this. Thank you.
Mr. Chair, may I have the floor?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Thomas, could you pull up the slide that shows the audience and the board where our district currently ranks in cost per pupil? I think you said earlier 85 school districts. I believe we may be down to as low as 81. Please don't hold me to that as an auditor accurate number. We have 81 school districts in the state of South Carolina. In Berkeley County, we are currently spending in 67th place. Those teachers that Mr. McQuillan and others speak of have put us academically in 24th. As a taxpayer, we're getting a pretty good deal. What bothers me the most is the average cost per pupil. It is ridiculously low in Berkeley County. It is more than $1,000 less than the average cost per pupil. Our children deserve more than this. It takes a great deal of courage to tell your neighbors you are going to raise their taxes. But tonight I'm going to vote in favor of this budget. And we're going to pay our teachers an appropriate salary. And we're going to spend an appropriate amount of money on our children. And we've taken too doggone long to get here. But tonight we're going to take a step forward. And I made you promise we're going to keep it tonight. I'm sorry it took so long. I'm embarrassed. But tonight we take a step towards correcting the problem. No more. Berkeley County will be competitive with the rest of the state of South Carolina because our children deserve it, Ms. Reeder. Our children deserve it. That's all I have to say, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.
We're going to put ourselves in a better position than we are right now.
Any other discussion?
Well, I would just want to repeat it, something I think I said at the last meeting about the fact that our teachers who live in Berkeley County are taxpayers as well. And so this is going to have an impact on both ends, you know, for them. It's not something I take lightly. It does upset me that there are voices out there who want to talk about the bond referendum and construction, and they just don't realize that what we're talking about here is instruction, and that these pots of money that and the funding streams that we really have very little control over are not doing the job for our kids. And I get my hackles up every time I hear someone use the word waste, because this school district has cut as many corners as you possibly can. And we are at a serious impasse right now with our beginning teachers. I work with them as part of my job right now, and know that our beginning teachers cannot afford to even live. We don't even have enough places for them to live in Berkeley County. And so to even drive into our county is an additional expense for our young teachers who have roommates, who have second and sometimes third jobs. We're struggling to get more men in our profession. And it is a huge deterrent for young men who are pulled away to other professions. And they make that choice because they want to have families. And quite frankly, our teachers and we have lots of husbands and wives in Berkeley County, how they are able to make ends meet on those first few years in the classroom is shameful. It is absolutely shameful. When we look at the SAIL program and the offerings that the district has for the renewal credits and that type of thing, and I think somebody mentioned every 5 years teachers have to prove, to retain their license, they have to prove that they're receiving additional professional development. I'm pretty sure, I haven't checked lately, but I'm pretty sure that our beginning teachers really do not get that renewal credit until they have a master's degree. Is that correct? They have to take coursework before those renewal credits actually kick in. Those courses come out of their pockets. And so if you think about all of the barriers that our beginning teachers have, I cannot imagine any taxpayer, and I mentioned to all of you that I've had the opportunity to share all of this information at chamber meetings and in my neighborhood meetings. They're appalled. The business owners in Berkeley County are appalled that we have allowed this to happen. And not a one of them have asked me to vote no on this budget. They have said, with all of this growth, we better catch up. We've got to stay ahead of the game. And I have sought out people to find out if anybody would argue against this, and I have yet to find anybody who doesn't agree that this is the right thing to do. Thank you, Mr. Thomas, for bringing the additional information. You just continue to prove the point here about how fiscally responsible we are in this district and how focused we are on instruction and children.
Thank you. You just gave me an idea. I'm going to see if my wife will get a second job.
Would you please have her call mine?
I will. I just want her out of the house. Do not say anything, Lauren.
Any further discussion?
I got a couple of questions and a couple of statements. Brantley, I know a lot of work goes into putting this budget together, but you guys get help from the school level principals and teacher forum and input and all for putting this budget together. Is that correct?
We have presented to the principals meeting and have asked for input, talked to teacher forum about priorities and that sort of thing. So yes, we do that. Again, the budget's significantly 85 to 86% salaries and fringe benefits. When you take all that out, there's really not a whole lot left to debate on, because then you have utilities, you have property and casualty insurance that we have to maintain, teacher supplies or classroom supplies, those sorts of things. So there's really not a whole lot left to debate over other than salaries when you get right down to it. But again, we probably put priorities together that address teacher administrative needs.
So I just want to thank you, Dr. Turner. As I look out into the audience, I don't see too many principals. If you'll thank the principals and then Ms. Reeder, teacher forum, thank all the work you guys do as far as putting this budget together and coming up with something that's fair and rewarding our teachers for the rewards that they needed. Kind of like Dr. Murray said, it's far overdue, and I think, maybe some of the reason why it was overdue is because back 4 or 5 years ago, we were able to keep the teachers in the district working and not having to furlough them. So some of those pay cuts they took back then, we're trying to make up now. I wish there had been another way we could have gotten there without the high millage increase, but we need to do what we need to do to get our teachers where they need to be so the district can compete.
Just one last comment I would make. One of the facts I think that's telling with regard to why this truly is a teacher-centric budget is when you look at the budget priority recommendations with regard to FTEs. There are 64.6 teacher FTEs, and there are only 2 administrator FTEs, and that's the principal and assistant principal at Nexton Elementary School, where you have to have 2 more administrators. We do not have administrative fat in this district. Pure and simple.
Any other discussion?
Mr. Chair, just because I don't believe in a 17 mil tax increase or this particular budget approach doesn't mean I'm anti-teacher or anti-student. 6.25 mils of the increase is going to teacher pay. Our teachers in the years 15 to 29 are only going to realize $400 to $500 a yearly increase. Only 50% of our budget is going to go towards teachers. I agree with Mr. McQuillan. I want that number to be more. I want this board to do what it can do to reduce waste, because there isn't a lot of waste, but the waste that exists is with legal fees, it is with performance annuities, it is with things that this board can control. We need to make a permanent decision for superintendent. We need a leader. We need a leader who can take us back to zero budget and put the money where our strategic initiatives are. I was very disappointed in April when we did not make a permanent solution because we were going to end up in this position without a permanent leader. It's very hard with the interim superintendent to make cuts or realign departments or look at schools that have 4 administrative allotments for 884 kids and decide if one of those principals should go to Nexton instead of having a new allotment. It's hard to make those decisions on an interim basis. I've had teachers seek me out and say they are thankful that I'm serving them and they appreciate the focus on them, and that is the only reason I am sitting here. So to say if you don't vote for this budget, you're anti-teacher is very insulting. That's the only reason all of us are sitting up here, is for the children in this district and for the teachers. Just because everyone doesn't arrive at the solution in the same way does not mean that we're, you know, against teacher increases, because it is the most important thing. I believe that we could have hedged our growth to pay the bills and to be able to increase teacher salaries. I'm disappointed that the lowest, if we're going to go for 17 mills, it's very disappointing that we're putting the lowest package on the table for the teachers. If you're going to take that kind of increase, and if nobody's called your house, you don't live in Pinopolis, South Carolina, because those folks have called and they're very concerned. There are taxpayers that are concerned. There are small business owners that have concerns. So I support teachers. I support the long-term vision of this district. I wish that we would have arrived at a budget in a different method. And I believe we need to move forward and make a permanent superintendent solution so that we can budget in a long-term way instead of budgeting short-term.
Mr. Crum?
Yeah, and when I'm talking about a permanent superintendent too, that is in no way a swipe at you, Dr. Turner. He came in on day 2 of his job is when this budget was proposed,
Yeah,
and so.
I didn't mean that
But
way
I'd been
either.
here the week before.
Yeah. So.
And I saw those salary schedules, and I was absolutely flabbergasted at what had happened over the course of 5 years.
Yeah. I would also suggest too that, you know, I agree with all the comments, but a lot of it's legislatively put on us. So there's some things that we need to do on that end as well. And I too wish we could have done something different. Yes. They left us no choice.
Yeah, I think it would go without saying, as a former board member would always say, call your legislator and tell them what you think about funding schools properly.
Right. And also, too, I heard it was the CFO's budget. It is not my budget. I just want to remind you all of that.
Well, keep in mind, too, that it doesn't just involve the schools themselves. Remember the buses that we have? These old buses that are out here? That's part of our state legislature's responsibility also. And they're not funding that part of education either. So there's a lot of areas that we need to be picking up the phone and calling our representatives in the Senate and the House and saying, hey, what about education? What about education? And I worked in these schools for 27 years in Berkeley County. And I saw teachers propping their teacher desks up on books to keep because the legs had broken off. I've seen students in school desks that were too small, desks that were falling apart. You can go to about any of the schools on a daily basis, and you can go down on the bus ramp and see desks sitting out there that have broken, fallen apart. It's very common. I've seen, you know, principals come into our teachers' meetings and say, guys, cut back on this duplicating. We're running out of paper. And I've seen teachers write before school big long lists on the board for the students to have to copy because they have no copy paper to put it on for them. And that's instruction time that those students are actually using to make those copies that have been wasted. So there's a lot of ways that these, you know, when these budgets get cut, that it affects, it just trickles all the way down, and it affects those students. And when we don't fund our budget properly, kids ultimately are the ones who end up losing.
I would also suggest we are doing some things that are financially helping us, but again, they're they're bits and pieces. So we are working on items that are continuously improving the bottom line, like workers' comp, like all those kinds of things. We have a very proactive area in workers' comp, so that's helping our modification, and our premiums are going to go down, but it's a lot of moving parts that we have to put together to get there. So we are doing that. I just want to let you know.
Well, I compliment the board on the maintenance and what they've done in energy savings alone over the years. I mean, that was some of the things that they have gone into the schools and done. It's just amazing how much energy has been saved. Just watch sometimes and see if somebody doesn't turn their lights out. They hear about it.
Charlie, can you turn the lights off?
All right, any other discussion?
Just one thing, when I was researching the percentage of our total budget associated with, that goes towards teacher salaries, one thing other states do, I noticed, that we can contact our General Assembly about, is they put a minimum amount of the budget that they say if you're of your total budget, at least 55% needs to go to teacher salaries. States have mandated that. We're at 50%. Other neighboring districts in here and in other states are 60%, 58%. I contacted other board members. We need to increase. We need to attribute more of our budget to teacher salaries rather than other things. We're behind right now, and that's part of the problem. That's part of the reason why taxes are being raised, is because we're not using a bigger portion of our budget to go to teachers. Other districts do it. We're not. It was 50% last year. It's 50% this year. We need to do something about it.
And also, too, talking about the 50% number, we need to start adding some support staff in, like libraries, library media folks, guidance, psychologists. That kind of bumps the percent up, and they're all tied to serving students. So, that's part of it. So.
Okay.
I'm just excited that we have a past principal, a teacher that have been in the classroom in Berkeley County and understand how important it is to support teachers. And when I'm listening to them, they're my leaders, and particularly Dr. Turner. I'm excited the fact that Dr. Turner's here. And if you've never worked with Dr. Turner, I think once you've had the experience with him, you're going to enjoy having him here as well. So I support this budget because it's a need for it.
Just kidding, Mike.
But I'm sincere about that. I think everybody will find out that Dr. Turner will hit the ground running and working, and he's a very bright superintendent. And I'm happy that you're here. So I do support you.
Thank you.
Thank you. And I support this budget as well for the teachers in all of Berkeley County.
Mr. Chairman, this is such an important vote. May I respectfully request an individual poll of the members of the board?
Okay.
Yes in support of the motion, no if you are against the motion.
Okay, and we'll go by district.
Can we repeat the amount?
Yes, ma'am.
please?
Yes.
Ms. Lee, and for other members of the board, the motion reads as follows: to accept the FY 2015-2016 general fund budget as second and final reading in the amount of $238,224,042 as presented by Mr. Thomas in budget public hearing under finance agenda item 9B.
Do we need to state in that motion that it includes a 17 million increase? No.
It's important to you. I mean,
That's fine.
I'm sure that'll be public knowledge.
Okay.
Okay, then I'll go by the districts. District 1.
Yes, in support of the budget.
District 2.
No.
District 3.
No.
District 4.
Yes.
District 5.
Yes.
District 6.
No.
District 8.
Yes.
And District 9, yes. So the motion carries 5-3. Moving on to agenda item number 10, the superintendent's report. Dr. Turner.
Yes. 1 second, Mr. Chairman. Let me get myself organized.
That's my
There are a
turn.
number. There are a number of items. I didn't have much to say at the last board meeting. It was my second day on the job, but I've learned in a very short period of time that there's quite a bit to say about what's going on. First of all, with regard to the Stuff the Bus campaign, we just had a golf tournament last weekend. I'm glad to report that in our Stuff the Bus Berkeley golf tournament that we had over 65 businesses donated gift cards or prizes to be awarded during a raffle. And we also had 29 teams that participated in that tournament. And as of today, and they're still receiving checks, have made $6,000 in that campaign to have supplies for our students who are having great difficulty and their families are having difficulties, giving them the kind of supplies they need to be successful in school. That's the first activity. We have 2 more coming up, and you have a chance to have some real fun and stuff the bus. Number 2 is Shagging Under the Stars, July 16th at Santee Canal Park in Moncks Corner from 6:30 to 9:30 p.m. Music will be provided by a local band. Tickets are $5 per person, or a bag of school supplies, so take your pick. We really would like to see you there. Brush off your shagging shoes. That's really a hard thing for me. Fill up a picnic basket, grab a blanket or chair, and let's go to the Santee Canal Park. And also, finally, the Rally Day, held on August the 1st from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. to Moncks Corner and Goose Creek Walmarts. And there, at that period of time, we'll have a lot of activities outside those Walmarts, but there'll be district bands and other face painters for children, etc. And school buses are in both locations, and customers, as they hand bags of supplies, when they come out of Walmart, they get put into the bus and bring back to the district warehouse to be counted, sorted, and distributed to all schools. So we're hopeful that maybe you can participate in some of those remaining activities in the Stuff the Bus campaign for our children who need those supplies the most. I also found out something today that didn't make it into our media summary, and that is the director of the youth market, Rachel Stanley, reported from the Heart Association in our area. We had 18 elementary and middle schools participate in the jump rope, or hoops, for Heart during the 2014-15 school year. Those students raised $107,101 in Berkeley County School District. Daniel Island School was the 6th highest school in the state of South Carolina, raising $16,855. And Sangaree Elementary was close behind, raising $16,152. Congratulations to all of those children who worked in that endeavor. Also, I'd like to report about our summer feeding program, and I see that Linda Fairchild is here, who is our Director of Food Services, Executive Director, and we are very pleased to report that the summer feeding program is more successful than ever. They started on June the 7th with summer feeding, and that is for breakfast and lunches. They have already served over 45,000 hot lunches and 15,000 breakfast meals. They have 62 feeding sites, which is 6 more sites than last year. And the numbers are up by an average of 325 meals a day, and more than they served last year. By the end of the summer, she estimates they will serve 180,000 meals. I just want you to think about that for a while, because there is a whole culture that many of us don't see in having hungry children going over a whole summer because they have been used to having some food during the school year. Would be a horrible thing. And Linda Fairchild and her staff approach this not as a task, but as a mission. And I want to tell her how much I appreciate it. Thank you, Linda. Mr. Dion Jackson would like to make an announcement about Wetlands Permits. Only he would get excited about this topic.
Chairman Hayes, Dr. Turner, members of the board, are pleased to announce that after a long and tedious 13-month process, we received our wetlands permit for the Phillips Simmons sites. from the Army Corps of Engineers. This permit allows contract construction to begin going vertical on the elementary and middle school. It also clears the way for work to begin on the high school, build roads and install utility lines. And I'd also like to acknowledge Ms. Connie Mine and Gene Sides for being so diligent and persistent during this process.
Thank you. It's a really exciting. I want to remind the board members and the general public that Nexton Elementary will have a ribbon cutting ceremony on Monday, June 29th at 5:30 p.m. Also, we had to reschedule the drop-in for the architectural presentation on the Philip Simmons Elementary and Philip Simmons Middle School. And so it's been rescheduled. It'll be on Tuesday, June 30th at 6 p.m. at St. Paul's Baptist Church, 1527 Clements Ferry Road. Reverend Wright, who is pastor of that church, has graciously let us use that facility for this presentation. Instead of having 3 presentations with small groups, we can have 1 presentation with a larger group. So that's going to take place on the June 30th at 6 p.m. at St. Paul's Baptist Church. And I'm, for one, am really anxious to see this presentation because I understand that they have a new program that lets you fly through interiors of buildings in a computer-generated model that's supposed to knock your socks off. So I'm hoping that'll happen to me. Then we also want to say that on the same evening, if you're not interested in computer-generated graphics, you might want to attend the adult education graduation that's taking place on Tuesday, June 30th, 4 p.m. at Cane Bay High School. And they always love having board members and other members of the educational community there, as well as parents and other folks. Remind everyone that we have a board retreat on July 17th and 18th at the Meade Westvaco offices. We will be providing you with more information about exact starting times on Friday evening and Saturday morning for that board retreat. And we're looking forward to that because we have some, I think, really some exciting information to share with you. The next regular scheduled board meeting is July 28th. We do not have a meeting on the second Tuesday because we are having the board retreat. And last, I'd like to report to you that Reverend Sharonda Singleton, our teacher who was murdered at Emmanuel Church just this last week, there's been a change, I believe, from what I saw in terms of the services, in terms of her funeral. I think it was reported on TV that the viewing and also the service would be at Mother Emmanuel Church, but that is not the case. It will be at the Mount Moriah Missionary Baptist Church on Rivers Avenue, 7396 Rivers Avenue. The viewing is from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. and the service is at 2 p.m. on this coming Thursday, June 25th. So because there was some confusion about that, I wanted to make a public announcement about that here. If you feel it in your heart, then that's where you need to go. Mr. Chairman, thank you for the opportunity to share this information.
Thank you. At this time, we'll go to agenda item number 11, which is the executive session. Do I have a motion to move into executive session?
Mr. Chair, I move that we move into executive session.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All right, we have a motion to move into executive session, and it has been seconded. All those in favor respond.
What are we discussing in executive session?
Oh, we have 3 things.
We have 3 things to discuss in executive session: the student attendance appeals, some personnel considerations, and contractual matters. Okay. Any other discussion? All of those in favor of the motion, please respond by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. All right, we are in executive session.